The Kazakh people eat horse meat. It's a Kazakh. Guys, welcome back to the channel. I am an African living in Kazakhstan, and here are some of the cultural shock. What shocked me when I first came to this country, which I was like, it's made me flabbergasted. It blew my mind, like, because I'm from a different country, I'm from a different continent, and I have a different culture and I have a different belief. So it was really surprising to me, and it was really strange, a little bit, yes, strange to me. But for me, I respect culture, I respect tradition, and any country I go to, I always respect it, and I try to learn. So one of the first cultural shock when I first came to Kazakhstan is that I got to discover that the Kazakh people eat horse meat. It's a Kazakh tradition. The Kazakh people love eating meat so much. Literally, these guys eat meat like crazy. Every Kazakh meal, they have to be meat. So I got to discover that the Kazakh people eat horse meat, and it was a little bit strange, or a little bit different, because where I come from, we don't eat horse meat. Literally, we don't eat horse meat. The horse meat is called kaza, and it was a little bit strange for me. But after a while, I tasted it. I ate the horse meat, and it was delicious. It was tasty. But I don't like the smell of the horse meat. But I've eaten horse meat a couple of times, and it was really, really good. It tasted really, really great, honestly. The second cultural shock, I discovered that in Kazakhstan, yes, when you get married, you still live with your parents. Like my country, or where I come from, when you're 18 or when you're 17, you leave your parents' house. For example, I left my parents' house when I was 15, 16. You know, I never stayed with my parents for a long time. I left when I was 16, 15. I left when I was very young. But in Kazakhstan, you can get married. You get married and you still live with your parents. Like, it's a tradition where the last boy of a family have to live with their family. So I found that it was a little bit different from what I was expecting. You know, one of the things I really love about the Kazakh culture, it's family. The love family. So you can be 50 years, 60 years, and you still live with your parents in the same house. It's good. Of course, it saves money, it saves cost, and it's a good tradition. So that's one of the things which really surprised me. The third cultural shock is in Kazakhstan, you have to always join. It's compulsory, it's a must that if you're 18 years old, as a man or as a boy, you have to join the military. It's a must. You have to serve in the army. They literally force you to join the military. I think most Soviet countries do that. So in Kazakhstan, you have to join the military when you're 18 years as a boy or as a man. So it shocked me, because where I come from, nobody joins the army. Nobody wants to go to the army. But my sister joined the army. But nobody forced her. She just loved the army. I also wanted to join the army, but nah, I love traveling, so I cannot join the army. Actually, this one blew my mind. It makes me like, in Kazakhstan, the people always ask a lot of personal questions. Literally a lot of personal questions. For example, where I come from, and most of the countries or most of the cultures I've been to, you don't ask people how old you are. You don't ask people how much they get from work. But in Kazakhstan, people ask you how much you get from work. Like, they ask a lot of personal, literally a lot of personal questions. But it's just something which I found it was a little bit different. For example, I was in Almaty, I was in some part of, and some girl asked me, how old are you? How much you make? I'm like, it was a little bit different, but I got to understand that it's a cultural difference, and I respect. It's like a cultural shock, but I got to realize that most of the Kazakh people, most of them are very nice people. Like, a Kazakh person treats a completely stranger like they have known you for a long time, or they are like your family. They treat you very nicely. I was traveling to some city I was traveling to some city in Kazakhstan, and some random guy told me, hello, how are you? Invited me to his house. Like literally, he invited a stranger to his house. He didn't know me from nowhere. Like he's never met me in any place. And he invited me to his house, and he gave me bish pramak. He told his wife to cook bish pramak, and we ate. And till today we're friends. It's something which is really different from, you know, Western countries. Africa we're also really good friendly to strangers, but in some Western countries I've been to, nobody gives a shit about you. Nobody's gonna invite some stranger to his house. But I was really impressed. So Kazakhstan is like family. Like Kazakhstan is not an individualistic society. Kazakhstan is not like individual society. It's about family values, respect for the elders, core respect for the elders. They know what respect is, they know what culture is, and they know what family values are. You know, it's difficult to hear about a Kazakh person who doesn't respect their family or who doesn't know their family. They really respect family, and they know what values is. It's not an individualistic society. For example, yeah, I have Kazakh, like let me call them my Kazakh family. They don't know me, but they always tell me you're not alone. If you have a problem, you can always reach out to us and we can help you. So Kazakhstan is not an individualistic society. It's a family society.